Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this review of what we're actually doing here for MegaMaths with regards to NEBOSH courses coming up over the next year. We thought we'd use this as an opportunity to talk to everybody and answer any questions you may have with regards to what's happening at MegaMaths with regards to NEBOSH courses over the next 12 months. So as it says in the chat room, if you have any questions or you want to ask us anything directly, please feel free to do so. It may be easier for you to put your message in the chat box. Then we can refer to it when we've finished going through our little slide presentation. Okay. With that in mind, I'm going to hand over to Jim. He's going to talk you through a few slides, and then I'll bounce in and out as we carry on.
All right, James. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Mike. So, hi, everybody. A lot of you know me already. Some of you may not. I'm James Priddy. I'm the senior instructor here at MegaMaths, the main NEBOSH tutor. The reason we wanted to do this webinar today is because we now offer several programs at NEBOSH, and it can be hard to know what qualification is right for you in your circumstances. Now, the issue we have is NEBOSH is a well-known brand and is banded around everywhere. But one NEBOSH qualification can be very different from another one. NEBOSH actually offer a total of 25 different qualifications, from awareness level courses all the way up to master's degrees, which I am actually looking at myself doing at some point. So we're not going to go through all the courses, but we're going to go through the courses that we currently offer here at MegaMaths, and we'll talk a little bit about future plans, and then if we get time in the end, we'll do some frequently asked questions and see if we can help you out with any queries. So, without further ado, the current courses we do here at NEBOSH, MegaMaths even, we've got 6 in total. So, I'm not going to read them out aloud from this slide because we're going to cover each one in a little bit of detail. Excuse me. And we're not going to go into masses of detail about exactly what's in the syllabus and that sort of thing. It's more just a general overview of what are they, who are they for, what's the course duration, that sort of thing. Because towards the end of the presentation, we will give you some websites and email addresses and that sort of thing you can use to gain more information on these courses. So as you can see, here at MegaMaths, we now offer 6 different courses with plans for a 7th, but I'll let Mike talk to you about that later on. So the first course we'd like to quickly talk about is the new NEBOSH and Health and Safety Executive UK Award in Risk Assessment and Risk Management. So this is a course written by both NEBOSH and the HSE in the UK. And it's just a basic one-day course, which mainly teaches people the basics of risk assessment, but also teaches people the basics of safety and why do we have safety in the workplace. As I said, it's just a one-day long course. There's one paper-based assessment that you do at the end of the course, which is basically completing a half-filled risk assessment and making a few judgments on what should happen to the risk assessment and that sort of thing. Now, here in Brunei, like all our courses, it'll be face-to-face, it'll be in English, and we will be charging $300 for this course. We've already ran 2 so far, and they've both gone very well, so we're very pleased, and we hope we can continue with that. Who's it for? Well, as I said, ideally it's for anybody, really, particularly anybody who wants to do risk assessments, but it can also be for somebody who holds, for example, NEBOSH IGC, who want to do a refresher course, or want to add something to their CV, or to even do something called CPD, which is continuous professional development. Now, as a good safety professional, we should always be looking to do the next course, the next learning. We should never just want to do one course and stop. We should always be looking to grow, and this is an ideal way of doing that. For those of you who want to get into the world of safety as well, and you really don't want to pay a lot of money and spend 2 weeks on an IGC course where you're concerned that it won't be right for you or you might struggle, this is perfect because it's relatively low cost. It's only 1 day, and at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy it or it doesn't work out, you haven't really lost that much. Whereas if you jump straight into IGC, again, that's 2 weeks of lessons, and you've got both exams, and you've got to wait months for the results. And if they don't turn out the way you wanted, then that's a lot of time and money that you could have potentially used doing something else. So that's just a little roundup on that one. The next course we have on our list is a new course, which I would like Mike to have a chat about, because Mike is actually going to be the lead for this course. So over to you, Mike.
Moving in and out. Okay, so we are currently now offering a introduction to investigation plus an additional tripod beta awareness. Some of you may be aware that we run an incident investigation course here at MegaMass, which is a 1.5-day course with an introduction to tripod beta. What we're doing is we are now changing that course slightly to include the NEBOSH introduction to incident investigation. So a person coming on this course would get the NEBOSH certificate as well as the introduction to tripod beta certificate from MegaMass as well. So you get 2 certificates. This is a 1.5-day course because it's the same as the current 1.5-day course, only, like I said, with the NEBOSH qualification. The cost is exactly the same as we were running before, and again, only with the NEBOSH qualification. It's for people who would like to get an understanding of how to do an incident investigation. It is totally compatible with the Brunei Shell requirements for incident investigation, and it is also basically there so that you would get that basic knowledge in incident investigation and tripod beta. So for both sides, if you wanted both of those type of things. It's very useful for anyone who is a HSE officer who may be involved in incident investigation and needs to understand how to do this, how to understand in the law, and of course, how to understand what the requirements are from the oil and gas community. As I said, we've been running this course for many years, but now we're adding the NEBOSH side of things as well, just to give it that extra bit of credibility. So we've already run a course and it's gone quite well. So we're quite happy with this, and I think this is something that will continue into the future as well. Right, I'll pass back to Jim.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, this is certainly one I'd actually like to do myself. Excuse me. I think NEBOSH have come up with a good product here, and I think it ties nicely in what we already do, and I think it's benefits all well. So definitely looking forward to seeing how this one develops along the way. So our next course is one we've been running for a while now, and that's the NEBOSH Award in Environmental Awareness at Work. So this is just a 1-day course, but there's also a separate day for an exam day. Now, the exam is an online multiple choice question paper. However, with this, you have to bear in mind that we can only do the exam as per the schedule set by NEBOSH. So you have to be a little bit aware that you may do the course and maybe a couple of weeks afterwards that you then do your exam. NEBOSH recently announced a change to their multiple choice question examinations, but I will talk about this in a little while. The cost for this one's $400, and it's basically for anybody who has environmental management responsibilities at work, or wants to start learning that side of the profession, or wants a beginner way of getting into environmental management. And again, even if you already hold a diploma or a degree or some other qualification in environment, you could use this for CPD or something to add to your CV or that sort of thing. And again, it's just the basics of environmental management. What are our business's impacts on the environment? How do we stop those affecting the environment. I often say to people that if you're clever, you can actually manage environment and safety at the same time. You can protect all things. But of course, you can't protect all things if you're not competent. So if you're a HSE person and you don't have any environmental qualifications, you really should have at least a basic understanding of what environmental management is. So on to our next one, which again is one we've run for a while, but there's been a slight change. For those of you who may have done this course before or are aware of this course before, you can see it's still called the Health and Safety at Work Award, but now rather than HSW, the course code is HSA. Basically, NEBOSH had a Health and Safety at Work Award course and another course called Safety Simplified, but Safety Simplified doesn't exist anymore. So what they've done is basically taken the assessment from Safety Simplified and then added it to this course. So what you learn is the same. It's the basics on health and safety, basics on health and safety management systems, what's health and safety policy, how do I do a risk assessment, just those sorts of things. Very similar to what you would do in an IOSH managing safely. In fact, the NEBOSH HSA is the equivalent of IOSH managing safely. It's the same level of qualification. It's still 3 days. The cost hasn't changed. It's still $950. But what has changed is now there's not one written assessment and one practical assessment. There's only the one practical assessment. So you'll do the 3 days with us, and then you'll have 10 days where you go to your workplace. You basically do an inspection of your workplace, and then you complete the assessment based on that inspection, submit it back to us, and then it gets marked by NEBOSH, and we go from there. This is another what we call gateway qualification. So again, if you really want to get into safety and you think things like the IGC, etc., are a bit too much to start with, maybe have a look at this one. This level of qualification actually meets Sheena's requirements for you to be a HSE coordinator here in Brunei. So if you have this one or the IOSH managing safely, you do meet their requirements to be a HSE coordinator. Now, that's not a HSE officer or advisor. We'll talk about that in a little while. Next on our list is something we've been accredited for a while for now. Unfortunately, we've only run 2 courses so far, and that's mainly due to COVID, but we have planned another 3 this year, which is good. And this is the NEBOSH HSE Certificate in Process Safety Management. So again, this is another qualification that has been developed with the HSE in the UK. Now, unbiased, I think this is a fantastic course, and that's not just because I deliver it. I think it's the right level of technicality. You don't have to be an engineer to pass this course, but it will give you much better understanding and knowledge of process safety. Now, compared to personal safety, where we're giving people hard hats and boots and that sort of thing, here we look at stopping the major fires and explosions and releases of hazardous substances and that sort of thing. Those of you tuning in today from Brunei will certainly remember several months ago the catastrophic explosion we had at CIC Environmental in Kuala Belait. Now, I'm obviously not going to say what happened or why, because it's still an investigation ongoing and that would be unprofessional. But that is the sort of incident we try to avoid through process safety management. It's a 4-day course with 1 exam day. So again, a bit like the environmental, you come do the 4 days with us face to face, then you'll have a separate exam day. Just like the environmental awareness, the exam is the online multiple choice question paper, but I'll talk about that more later on. The cost for this one is $1,450. And as I said, it's for anybody basically who wants to work in a high risk process industry. Petrochemicals, oil and gas, hazardous substance storage, food manufacturing, all those sorts of things. If you're here in Brunei, think Hengi, BFI, Ben Foods, Saria Refinery, all those sorts of places. Just bear in mind, this doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the process safety person. because this can be anybody who works on that site. It's to give anybody on that site the knowledge of, does this sound funny? Can I hear rattling? Does this feel too hot? Does something not seem right? Does this gauge seem to be overpressured, underpressured? It's that sort of thing. Now, like most NEBOSH courses, there are no prerequisites for this. However, I would caution that your level of English ability would have to be at least IELTS 6 or 7, because it is quite technical in nature. Excuse me. But at the same time, as I said before, you don't have to be an engineer to understand what's going on. And indeed, you don't have to have done IGC or anything like that before. You can just come straight on the course. If you've done IGC and that sort of thing before, again, you can top up your CV with this. You can use it for CPD. If you want to broaden your job horizons, it's definitely a good one. And in fact, the main reason we brought this to MegaMass is because we actually saw BFI advertising for this exact course in some of their job adverts. And since we started running, our successful students have been placed at BFI, Total. Another person messaged me just the other day saying they'd been accepted to Hengyi with this qualification. So it's definitely worth something considering. Of course, NEBOSH's bread and butter, the good old IGC, International Certificate in Occupational Health and Safety. Most of you will probably know what this is, but I'll quickly go through it anyway. 10-day course, plus 1 exam day in theory, but you've actually got 2 exams to do. You do the online OBE question paper now. So if you wish to do this course, you must have a laptop and a working internet and an email address. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do that exam. And you do a risk assessment project. This is still $2,500. We haven't changed the prices on this. And this is the qualification here in Brunei as minimum, according to Sheena, for being a full-time safety officer / advisor. If you've done IOSH Managing Safety before, or NEBOSH Health and Safety Award, or NEBOSH Risk Assessment, Risk Management, those sorts of things, and you want to take the next step up, this is it. If you've worked in safety for many years and you don't have the piece of paper, this is it. Excuse me. So this hasn't really changed that much. It's just maybe the way some of the exams have done has changed. But again, we covered a lot of that in our webinar, which we did last year. So if you want to look at that, you can go look at that. Or again, there'll be plenty of links and information that we do towards the end of our discussion today. But what I'd like to do is hand over to Mike and give him the privilege of giving more details on the little thing we hinted last year and something we're going to be bringing into the future, which I'm very excited about. So Mike, over to you.
So, yeah, we are very happy or excited to announce that hopefully this year, COVID rules permitting, we will be starting the International Diploma for health and safety professionals. So we've talked about this before. We've mentioned that this is something that we're really looking forward to doing. And now basically it looks like it's full steam ahead and we can run it, providing that the borders open up a little bit to allow us to bring in different consultants as instructors. So what this is a diploma in health and safety. So it's an equivalent to a degree in health and safety. It is, I have to say, this is not for everybody. It will take approximately 2 years for somebody to complete it. It breaks down into 3 different sections, and each section would be completed before someone moves on to the next section. The total cost, now this is where it becomes very expensive, but it is, like I said, it's over 2 years. You are getting 3 additional training sessions. So it's 2-week training sessions for each module, plus the background and everything that goes with it. The total cost for this is all in, including all the assessments, the knowledge, the handouts, everything that comes with it, would be $10,000. I know that's a lot of money, but that's because, like I said, it is a degree in safety. Realistically, this is something that if you took this and were successful, this would allow you to become a grad IOSH, which would then allow you to become chartered in time as well. It would also be something that we'd be looking at, that people would be looking at for a health and safety manager. So again, like I said, it's not for everybody. It is in English. It is online assessments as well as a case study. Now, the case study also would be a considerable amount of work. This is a considerable amount of work for anyone who wishes to undertake this. As I said, this is not going to be the same level as the IGC. This is a much higher level. But having attained this qualification, this would be something that would set you apart from any other HSE or most other HSE professionals within Brunei. There are not that many people who have this level of qualification. So it could be something that you're interested in getting in order to take that next step on your career path in order to become a professional HSE person. It is I say it's 2 years, it is part-time during those 2 years, so it is not something that you would need to take or spend an entire 2 years at Megamas doing. This would, like I said, break down into 3 different modules. There would be a period of time with us, and then a period of self-study time before you would then basically sit the exams. The exams are online, and they are done over a period of, I think it's 1 month as well. So it takes a while to do the exam. Again, I think anyone who is interested in this, by all means, we're really happy that you are, but I think this is something that you would need to come and have a further discussion with us so that we could go and talk you through exactly what is required for doing this. But it is something that we have had inquiries about. This is something that people have been asking about. And like I said, I'm very excited to say that we will be able, fingers crossed, to be running this, hopefully, about the 3rd quarter of this year. Our plan is to run 1 course per year. That way it will start the ball rolling. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, really exciting times on this one. Really happy to be adding this to our list of professional courses that we run here at Megamas. Okay, I'll hand back to you, Jim.
Yep. Like a human yo-yo today, so apologies for that, social distancing and that sort of thing. Yeah, just to clarify what Mike said. Well, we're very excited to be looking at doing this, and we will be working with another training provider initially to help us out with this. You've got to really think carefully about whether you're going to be able to do this or not. We may have to do some sort of pre-assessment or interview or something like that. Certainly, I would suggest that if you don't have IGC, then you would be missing some of the key basics before you could even enroll onto this. But again, please have a look at it. There's going to be plenty of info you can look at later on when I will give you these web links, etc. As we get more updates about how closer we are to this, of course, we'll let you know. But for now, it's in the works, and we will let you all know sooner rather than later when we can officially start. So those are the course sides of things we wanted to discuss today. I would just like to quickly touch on these new multiple choice questions we were talking about. So as of this month, the paper-based multiple choice exams for the NEBOSH Environmental Award and the Certificate in Process Safety Management are no longer in effect at all anywhere in the world. It's all going to be online. Now, where I need to be careful is some of you have done the OBE and that sort of thing, so you will automatically think, oh, it's the same as that. Unfortunately, it's not. This time, not only do you need a laptop, an email address, and an internet connection, but you also need a working camera and microphone, just like we're doing right now, because you will be recorded audially and visually during the exam. This is to stop you cheating, etc., because these multiple choice questions are not open book like the OBE. So you will have to download a special piece of software as well called Proctorio. So at the minute, you can see we're screen sharing. You're going to have to do that. If you've got any other web pages open, Proctorio will alert NEBOSH. If you've got any bits of paper in front of you or someone comes in and talks to you, the Proctorio will alert NEBOSH. So if you're wishing to do these courses, that's great, but I urge you all to really look at this information and go look at the other information later on and really make sure you meet all of this criteria, because we don't want to be messing around later on having to give refunds and people getting upset, blah, 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 because they come on the course and then find they can't do the exam. Hopefully we will get around that, because we're actually going to make this part of our joining instructions as well. But please bear in mind yourselves that there's no exceptions to this, unfortunately. There's no, oh, I don't have a laptop, so can I do it? This is NEBOSH's rules, so we have to follow what NEBOSH are doing. Excuse me. In particular, if you go to the NEBOSH website later on, I believe one of the links I'm going to give you is to a guidance document purely on these new exam requirements. So please have a look at them and please go through them carefully. And if you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, Mike, MegaMass, or NEBOSH, so we can clarify for you exactly what's going on. Just one other thing to bear in mind, even if you have all that, the IGC OBE is over a 24-hour period. You basically log in, you download the paper, you log out, and then you've gotten that 24-hour period to complete your work and submit it. That's not the same for these exams. They are timed. As soon as you start the exam, the timer will start ticking down. And when the timer ends, that's it. That's your exam done. So don't log in, log out, log in, log out. And don't think, oh, I can do 10 minutes now and 10 minutes tomorrow. Once you start it, that's it. You've got to crack on with it. So just bear that in mind as well. So going on to further information, as I said, you can see here we've given you some web links. The first one goes directly to the qualifications page for NEBOSH. It talks about all 25 qualifications NEBOSH offers. You may find something on there that you like that MegaMass don't offer. Hey, that's great, no problem. You can reach out to me. I'll see if I can find out who would do it, or you can search the NEBOSH website, the Where to Study section, and they will show you who will do it. There's a specific web link there for digital assessment. So that will talk about the OBE, the diploma assessments, and these new multiple choice assessments as well. I've linked you to the frequently asked questions page as well. There's plenty of stuff there that may answer your query before you even get to us or NEBOSH. So please go have a look at those. And of course, shameless plug, I've had to link you to MegaMass's website, but I've linked you directly to the NEBOSH section, because again, there's lots of good information there. There's our previous webinar there. This webinar will be there as well. So if you've forgotten something already or that sort of thing, you can always rewatch it. Of course, it won't go up straight away because the recording needs to be tidied up. We'll get it up there as soon as possible. And as well as those web links, of course, here's some email addresses. So you can contact us at MegaMass through info or marketing@megamass.com. You can contact Mike. I've given Mike's email address there. You can contact myself. I've given my email address there. Or again, feel free to reach out to NEBOSH themselves and they will talk to you as well. So if you want to slide in, Mike.
So again, thanks very much for your time, guys. I really appreciate you coming online and listening to what we've got to say. As we said at the beginning, if you've got any questions, feel free to put it in the chat room, and we will attempt to answer them. We have got one question.
I'll jump on that. Yeah. Hi, Mohammed. Any plans to introduce NEBOSH URSUM certificate in managing risk? Probably not at this stage. Based on what I know of the URSUM certificate, it's very similar to some of the stuff we offer already. Excuse me, I followed the pilot of this when they launched it a few months ago. I'm not saying it's bad qualification at all. It would be something very useful, but we ourselves at MegaMass are probably not going to introduce it at this stage. But again, if you want some info on that, I'm quite happy to help you out, point out where you can maybe go do that with a different provider. No problem at all. But we ourselves at the minute we're not looking at introducing that particular qualification. But thanks for your question.
Okay.
Any others, if you want to put them in the chat box? And we'll be happy to answer.
If not, and if you have a burning question and something comes to you later on today, please feel free to get in touch with us with the email that you've got there, and we'll get back to you that way. So,
we've got another one here. AM, hello, just a trivial question. When will the registration for this courses such as IGC? If you want to do it with us, AM, if you reach out to myself, Mike, or one of our MegaMass addresses, we can provide you with the different schedules for each course. We didn't want to do that in the webinar today because obviously things can change through COVID and numbers on seats and that sort of thing. So if you reach out to one of those email addresses, we'll quite happily address you there. But just to give you a little bit of insight, we do IGC once a month. The environmental and the process safety we'll be doing probably 3 times this year. The risk assessment, risk management award, we do every 2 months, so bi-monthly. But as I say, if you want a specific date, reach out to us and we'll quite happily share all the available dates and we'll go from there.
With the IGC, it's generally a month before the course we're looking for the registration. That's because we need to give the details across and book the registrations and the exams and all the rest of this with NEBOSH. So normally, if you phoned up today, we would put you not on the course that's running, say in March, we'd put you on the April course because that way we've got time to register you with NEBOSH, and that's just the way it goes. Is we have a certain time period which we need to register people with the NEBOSH course.
We got 2 more. Let's have a look. Who is this? AM, all right, thank you very much. As I'm currently still in my final two. Okay, AM, no problem. As soon as you've done your uni, and good luck with that, reach out to us and we'll quite happily help you.
Before attending the course, do we have to take IET?
Let me answer that. That's the English language thing. Right, Duran, before attending the course, do we have to take IELTS? Okay, something we commonly get asked. Technically, no, you don't. But what you've got to bear in mind is that these courses are only done in English. There's no Malay translation, nothing. That's because the exams are only done in English. So not only do you have to be able to speak English very well, but you have to be able to read and write very well as well. So we always recommend that ideally you will hold a grade C from school in English. If you don't, we're quite happy to have a chat with you and then make an assessment on whether we think you'll be able to do it or not. At the end of the day, it's your money. We can't technically stop you, but we don't want you, for example, blowing $2.5 grand and not passing a course because you don't understand what's being said and that sort of thing. So again, reach out to us if you've got any concerns on your English ability. We're quite happy to have a chat about that before any money's handed over or anything like that.
As a caveat to that, okay, that would definitely be the case for the IGC and above level courses. For the introductory courses, English is not so much of an issue. And as a sort of extra caveat to put into that, we're currently working with IOSH. I know this is a NEBOSH discussion. We're currently working with IOSH to release a Malay version of the Managing Safety course. So that will be entirely in Malay as opposed to in English. And again, we're hopeful that some point in the next couple of months we'll have that ability to run the Malay IOSH course. So if English is the big issue, again, it would be depending on what sort of level of qualification you were looking for. But if you wanted the sort of IGC and below courses, if you wanted the Managing Safety or the or below courses, that shouldn't be so much of an issue for the English language. It's just the IGC and above level courses where you would need to have a better understanding of English to do.
Yeah, if I can just cap that off, Mike.
Yeah.
I had a discussion with a NEBOSH representative several weeks ago about the possibility of doing Malay language in NEBOSH. And unfortunately, that's not going to be possible for the foreseeable future because it needs to be a very big business demand, et cetera, et cetera. So at least for the next couple of years, NEBOSH in Malay is simply not going to be possible.
NEBOSH IGC.
Or, well, any NEBOSH courses really,
okay.
But just don't want to get you confused with what Mike was saying. IELTS, we are allowed to do it because we're just waiting for the final confirmation, but with NEBOSH, they have to say, yes, we can do Malay, and they do all the translation, but that's not going to be likely for a couple of years at least. So that's why, particularly as Mike said, certainly for IGC, but I would definitely say for process safety and most definitely the diploma, you've got to have a pretty decent English ability. Otherwise, for all the will in the world, you're not going to be successful. It's not being mean or anything. It's just the reality of life. I hope that answers your question. Yes, it does. Lovely. No problem, Duran. Any others? Give you a minute, see if any others come in. How fast can you all type? I don't think there was anything else, was there?
I had to step out earlier.
Okay. Hi, Mohammed. Don't worry if you had to step out earlier. Excuse me. Particularly again for those of you who joined after we started. We noticed several people joined after we started. The whole webinar has been recorded, so excuse me, it will go up onto our website later on. Again, if you're just joining us, there's some links to the NEBOSH website and our own website if you want to go watch that recording and that sort of thing. So again, if you came in late, don't worry, it has been recorded. So once we get it up on our website, then you can always watch it again in the future. So what one of the people asked earlier about was the NEBOSH IRSM certificate in risk management. As I said before, the IRSM certificate in risk management is a qualification that's very similar to some of the NEBOSH qualifications we offer already. Think of the risk assessment and risk management award and the health and safety award course mixed together. It's that sort of thing. So mainly for that reason, we're not going to be offering it at this moment in time. If we suddenly get loads of demand, then sure, maybe we can introduce it. But for the foreseeable future, we won't be introducing that yet. But as I said to the other person, if you want info on that, you can still contact us. You can contact NEBOSH, and someone will be able to help you out, no problem. Any more for any more? Okay, lovely, no problem. Well, I guess we can call it there then.
Yes, okay. Well, again, thank you very much. Emails, like I said, if you've got a problem or question or whatever, let us know via email and then we'll go from there. Okay. Thanks again for your time, guys. Appreciate you letting me know.
Thanks, guys. And as always, stay safe.